often people have the content before the form. I always have the form before the content, so I have an idea about the formal side of things. But some of these films, like for instance, the one called Shadow Trap, comes from this previous live stuff. So in the live stuff, I'm attacking the film, I'm scraping, and then I always end up with this dust, emulsion dust from the films. So then I thinking, there's no, as I told you, there's no way of returning, of going backwards with this process. But then I thought, well, maybe I can kind of recycle this stuff, you know, like take this dust and put it back onto film. So then I got some clear 35mm film and just stuck the dust onto film. But then it sets up all sorts of interesting sort of concepts in that it's like found footage, you know. But I'm atomizing the original film. So like you could take any film, you could take Gone with the Wind, and you just make it into dust, and then put that dust onto a clear film, and it's Gone with the Wind. It's the same film. It's actually the same film on the screen, but it'll be completely abstract, just dust film. I never have gone into all this, but you know, certain artists suggest, oh, you should make a series, you know. But I'm always moving on to the next idea. With the short film, well, this was just from this phrase, you know, I shoot a film, you know, like I want to shoot my film now, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, let's take the normal kind of destruction that you often see in films, people shooting each other. The film, you know, it's like when you point a camera at someone, this old idea of, you know, you're shooting them. Well, you are shooting them, but physically you're taking something from them. So I thought, well, I'm going to turn, like I said, I always try to think of the opposite thing. So I think, okay, well, let's just turn it onto the film itself, onto the material. So if I actually physically, and I moved to the countryside, I live on a farm, and my neighbor is a farmer, you know, he has guns and stuff. So I was like, okay, maybe I get Jostein to come and shoot. I mean, it's his film really, not mine. You know, he shot it. Really, he shot it. But instead of a camera, let's use a gun and sort of turn the gun back to the material itself. So it's also about sort of, it's got lots of dimensions when you start to think about it as well. And it's not just a kind of clever pun on the idea of let's shoot a film, but it's also this expansion of time from an instant action, you know, which maybe lasts a fraction of a second. Then you can see this expansion over 4 minutes on the film. This is the physicality of it. So what I did was put strips of black film, protected all the perforations, 35mm black film, and then repair all the holes. And the holes also make the soundtrack. This is very important. So the sound is the image, just like I was saying for everything else. So to me, it's like, I mean, I had the idea, and then I immediately phoned up this curator, Mark Webber, who knows a lot about experimental film in England. And dear Mark, well, I wrote to him, dear Mark, I have this idea to shoot a film. I mean, to shoot a film, really, to shoot a film. Has it been done before? It seems so obvious thing to do, you know, like to shoot a film. And he's like, no, I never know. No. I was like, okay, if Mark doesn't know, I'm going to do it. So I really like this idea of creating something out of destruction. And that's a bit punky, I suppose. You could relate that all back to sort of my, you know, there's beauty in music, in loud music, in destroying things. There's beauty in it, you know. Really, there's a beauty in that comes out, and it's a great release, you know. And because I work with archive films where you're so precious with the film, and it's got everything got to be clean and nice, and fuck this film, you know, let's get rid of it, you know. We all have those desires, right? So, you know, we all want to destroy the things we love at some point, at some times. You know, it's fun.